MacBook Pro, laptop, maybe then the iPhone was usually my answer. But you know what it is? Now it's the App Store. The third-party apps have changed my life more than anything else. What I can do that I never could imagine doing because of access to all of the information sources out there in the cloud, out there on the internet. These apps make my life so wonderful, and they're always with me in my pocket. And when the iPhone was introduced, there was no App Store. There was no plan for an App Store. It was one big screen, which made it seem like a large phone at the time it was introduced. It was a large phone, but it didn't. It only had the apps that Apple gave you, which are good apps for weather and phone calls and texting and whatever. But the App Store really made a huge difference, and Apple didn't plan on that. I don't know.
So Steve Jobs was not a fan of the big screens either, and we see now coming into the market big screen phones, even from Apple.
Yeah. Well, Steve Jobs, when Android was introduced by Google, Steve Jobs got very upset. He said that it's going to be thermonuclear war on Google. They're going to take away huge amounts of our market. But he did a lot of things like cut out Google Maps, but he didn't compete in the marketplace. Why didn't Apple make some large phones? We left the large screen phones open to companies like Samsung and HTC and all the others, and LG. And so we left that market totally unchallenged by Apple, and our market share, went down and down and down and down and down, and now we have a large screen phone, but it's like 3 years too late. So I just think that's a Steve Jobs dogma, that he felt he'd done things right to make it small and handheld, and one hand could operate everything was that important in the world. But now I'm finding there's a mix of people, and some people really do like the smaller phone. But I myself, I like the larger versions, I love, ever since the Samsung came out with the Galaxy S3 and the Galaxy Note, I would take them to every dinner I went to with friends and associates and fans, and I would show them just so they would see, what does a large screen look like? How does it work and do the same things with nicer, larger screens? So I'm glad Apple finally broke through that. And I call it the new Apple. Apple's breaking through a lot of the dogmas of the past that held us back. In other words, we might be the largest company in the world, but we could be even larger if we keep doing things right.
So you like Samsung for some of their products.
And I'm talking about products. We take a company like Google, and they're into advertising. If they can get you doing a lot of things and know everything about you and your personal life, they can advertise well to you, and that's where they make their money. Apple makes it on good products, and I'd rather do that than somebody knowing who I am. A creative person doesn't want anybody else in the world to say, here's how you think, here's what you want, here's exactly what you're going to buy. I mean, that's market research, but the creative people kind of want to be, hey, I want to be a little bit unpredictable. I want my brain to still have sort of a soul and intuition and stuff that can't be put into a formula.